You're listening to the Valley Labor Report with David Story and Jacob Morrison.
So, David, the mine workers.
Yeah,
We've got some coal miners down in Alabama, in Brookwood, Alabama. 1,100 of them are on strike right now. The backstory, as I understand it, David, you can fill it in if I'm missing anything, but they have in 2016, Warrior Met Coal was nearing bankruptcy.
They were in bankruptcy.
They were in bankruptcy. Yes. They were in bankruptcy, and to save them, the workers sacrificed $8 an hour
on top of numerous on top of pensions for new hires, on top of numerous other concessions.
Yes, a myriad of concessions were made by the workers in 2016, and including an $8 an hour pay cut. That's not. I mean, $8 an hour pay cut. That is huge. That is an enormous. That's like. And that's just salary. That's not the accumulation of all the benefits. That's an $8 an hour straight off of your salary on top of every other concession that they made. And now
$1,500 a month. I mean, really,
that's
almost
a lot.
$1,500 a month. It's a house payment in a large city. It's probably 2 house payments in Brookwood.
That's a lot of money. And now the company is asking for more after they have come out of bankruptcy, after they're becoming more and more profitable.
After the managers are getting, I think it was $30,000 bonuses last quarter.
$30,000 bonuses last quarter.
Yeah.
In a quarter. $30,000 bonuses for managers. That's some BS. That's nonsense. So now the company is asking for another $7 an hour pay cut. They're asking for more concessions on pensions, on health care, on all this other stuff, while they're giving their managers $30,000 bonuses in one quarter. So the coal miners are going on strike. 1,100 of them have walked off the job. And David, you went down there yesterday. Lord willing, I'm going down there today. If my car, I haven't heard back from the auto shop, so I don't know what's going to happen to that. I don't know what's going to happen with that, and I don't know how. Hopefully, the bill's not too much, but hopefully, I'll be able to go down there this afternoon. David went down there yesterday. Talk to us about what it was like, David, on the picket lines.
It was exactly what you would think that it was like during the 1930s. Everything that you read from the 1930s, the only difference is they didn't, I say they didn't hold a gun on us. He had a gun on his side, so I guess he could have pulled it out at any time. But I mean, there's state troopers down there at all the picket sites. They were very, when I pulled up, I got there early, but the workers had been out there all night. You know, the workers were saying, well, they haven't been that bad. They said they're on our side. And I'm like, yeah, well, wait till something happens. I promise you that'll change. Well, within 30 minutes of me arriving, the gigantic 18-wheeler pulls up with this, I don't know what this is, some kind of earth-moving equipment, but it was humongous. And of course, we're walking a picket line. The point of the picket line is to impede the flow of traffic in and out to put the company at a standstill. Well, the state trooper did not like that, and he got out of the car screaming, hollering, threatening. And we're like, we're getting out of the way. We can walk. We don't have to run to get out of the way. But. Yeah, I mean, they're going to do everything they can to protect capital, to protect this business, and screw the workers over. But I will say, workers they were solid, man. I talked to probably 30 workers, and I didn't hear one with any wavering in their voice. They are out there to get what they deserve. So yeah, it's good. It's good. And there was a lot of young ones out there. It's like Jack Jacobs, one of the lawyers that helps us. He mentioned last night that he was real proud to see a lot of the young workers, and I talked to one of those young workers that had been there roughly 4 years, and he was standing strong. He was one of the ones that walked up to me. Numerous thanked me for coming down, and and that really speaks to the labor movement in general. All I'd done was get up in the morning and drive down to walk the picket line with them, and every one of them is over thanking me, shaking my hand. It really speaks to the solidarity, and it humbled me, because I'm like, look, guys, I'm just down here to help y'all however I can. Y'all are the ones going without food right now. However we can help you, we're going to help you. And and to that point, we should be helping them. Everybody in this community should be helping them, because by them getting a fair contract, it further bolsters our community. When there's more money in the community, because it's the same with my company. When the company saves money, it's going to Denver. My company, that money's going to Denver. It's not helping anybody in our state. When they have to pay more in wages and benefits, that money, if you want to go by trickle-down economics, that money is trickling down to the car dealerships, to Lynn Layton Chevrolet over here, to the restaurant industry. The waiters and the waitresses are going to be getting some of that money. It gets spent in the community. So we should be doing everything we can to ensure these people are making and I don't care what you think a fair wage is. If somebody's got more money than you do, be happy, because you're going to get it. They are going to spend it in the community, and it's going to increase your wages. If not exactly through their spending, it creates a vacuum because the other employers have to start paying a little bit higher to keep good employees, and it goes back and forth. It's a free market. So anytime that an employer raises their wages, all the employees at the other places are going to start saying, I'm going over there to go to work. And it forces these employers to bring up the wages. And that money gets spent in the community. It's a wonderful thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And, coal miners are like, they're the quintessential thing that any union drive that I have ever come across, the boss is always like, oh, we don't need a union, but those coal miners need a union, but we don't need a union. Okay, well, so here's some coal miners, and they're on strike. So
it's time to support them.
Yeah, support them. Whereas, so here's the challenge. I bet money that there are Amazon supervisors, and that there have been union busting folks at the Animal Legal Defense Fund that tried to bust their union. Folks at No Evil Foods, I think they actually dropped coal miners in their anti-union propaganda. Folks at the ACLU in Kansas trying to bust their union. All these supposedly progressive bosses, a boss is a boss is a boss, incidentally. But all these supposedly progressive anti-union bosses just in their workforce. Here we've got coal miners in the 21st century being asked to take, since 2016, a $15 an hour pay cut. A $15 an hour pay cut since 2016.
For a company, this business is booming.
Yeah. They're out on the picket line right now. Support them. Amazon is not, Bessemer is not but 40 minutes away. I want to see every single supervisor from Amazon out there supporting them. I want to see them donating to the strike fund. I want to see Bezos out on the picket line with them.
Yeah, well, one of the most beautiful things I seen last night after I got home was one of the workers from Amazon going over to Brookwood and sharing signs with the striking mine workers. So the mine worker was carrying the Amazon sign. Right. She, being the Amazon worker, was carrying the mine worker sign. And it was just such a beautiful thing to see the labor movement coming together in the state of Alabama and standing up for what we deserve. It really
you said one Amazon,
the state of the labor movement in Alabama in the last year.
Yeah, well, you said one Amazon worker, but I don't know. I saw that one. I saw that one, but I saw another picture that Applebaum, the international president of the RWDSU, put out. he put out that another picture with a whole crowd of Amazon workers that had gone on the picket line to support them, and I think that's just beautiful. And that's the kind of energy that we need going forward to build a strong labor movement here in Alabama. Is that we need to support one another in all the ways that we can. I mean, this is a big deal. This is something that folks in the labor movement need to. We need to be there for these workers. And like I said, if my car is if I'm able, I'm going to be down there this afternoon, and we're actually partnering with Working People, going to be having conversations with some of these coal miners and putting them out on the Working People feed as well as our own feeds. So I'm really excited about that. But I'm so, when I see folks standing up for themselves, not taking the boss's beatings, and understanding and knowing and fighting for what they're worth, or for closer to what they're worth. Of course, what these coal miners are worth is the full value of what they produce, and they don't get that, and they're not going to get that even if they get everything that they ask for in these contract negotiations, because there are still CEOs and there are still going to be bosses at the end of this contract negotiation, and so they're not going to get what they're worth, but they know what they're worth, and they're fighting to get closer to that.
Yeah. And this is about families. It's important to point out. I was on their page the night of the when they were in the late hours trying to negotiate a contract, and one of the wives down there said, "I feel like," she posted it, "I feel like I need to start a Venmo account because I don't know how we're going to feed our kids." And so these are the struggles of families, not because you say, well, then go back to work. Well, it's easy to go back to work until they keep taking and keep taking and keep taking, until, guess what? You're working 40 hours a week and you can't feed your kids. So go back to work is not the answer. So us supporting these workers is the answer. And if you're sitting there listening and you're saying, I'm 4 hours away, get in touch with us. Right. We will do everything we can to ensure. If you're in Hartsville and you say, I would like to donate to them, but I don't want to drive down, buy some water, call one of us, email one of us, we'll get it down to them.
And they I just talked to one of them. What is Larry's position in the union? Do you know? Is he like the president or the vice president? Spencer,
he's the vice president of District 20, which oversees all of us.
Yeah, so I talked to him yesterday or this morning and asked him, it was this morning that I asked them if they had a strike fund, and they're working on that. They're going to get a strike fund up that people can donate to. So we will tell you as soon as we know that.
But it's easy to buy water.
It's easy to buy water.
And there's 1,100 workers down there that's on the picket line.
And you said they need metal drums for fires. Like, it's still cold at night sometimes, and they've got to man the picket lines 24 hours a day, right?
Yes, correct.
24 hours a day, there's got to be somebody out on that picket line, and it still gets pretty damn cold at night. So they need metal drums to make fires. If you've got any of those, if you work in the construction industry.
Somebody told me about where some were at in Sheffield. I'm going to call them Monday. If they don't have any the drums yet, then we can get them. They're cheap. They were $15 for a metal drum. The problem is going to be
getting them down there.
I got a trailer, but God knows it's old. Right. So get in touch with us. We need to support these workers no matter what. And I can tell you, we were on strike on our last contract. I have no reason to doubt that we're not going to be on strike next year. I've got a lawnmower that's literally the wheels are falling off of it, and I told my wife the other week we were looking at buying another lawnmower, and I'm like, I'm going to duct tape this lawnmower to pieces to get us through the next year because I don't know what's going to happen.
And I told somebody about those concessions that the company was asking for yesterday, and they were like, well, they're probably trying to keep them having a job. And I'm like, that's such baloney. Like, if they wanted to make sure, if it was out of the benevolence of the company that they were asking for these concessions, the first thing they would do is to cut their own salaries and to say, okay,
not give $30,000 bonuses.
Yeah. That's just a bunch of horse crap. It's like, you got to, like, It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating talking about coal miners going on strike because they have been asked to take a $15 an hour pay cut and to be told, well, the company's probably just trying to keep them having a job. What a bunch of just good grief. The propaganda that has wormed its way. Yeah, this is a good person. Like, I love this person. It's a good person, but just the propaganda that has wormed its way into their mind and contorted their vision of the world is just, it's sad. It's so sad. And, and like David said about, oh, well, why do you go on if you're worried about not feeding their family, people, they're going to be asking for donations for the strike fund so that they can continue to feed their families through this strike. Well, if you're worried about feeding your families, you should go back to work. That is, again, this pro-corporate boss propaganda has wormed its way into your mind. The reason that they are going on strike is because they want to feed their families, because they want to support their families, because they want to support their communities and make sure that their children and the people coming up after them have it better than they do, and at least have it the same as they do. And to say that if you're worried about going hungry, you should cross the picket line, become a scab, betray every single one of your brothers and sisters in your workplace, and undercut their fight for better wages and working conditions is so anti-worker.
I mean,
so anti-worker. Somebody else that I know was talking to me about somebody that they knew that crossed a picket line and said, well, he had 7 mouths to feed. He had 7 mouths to feed. And it's like, you don't think the union knows that? You don't think the union is going to do everything that they can to make sure those mouths are fed? And you don't think that the strike is that they're going on strike because everybody's got mouths to feed? Everybody's got to feed themselves in the union. Everybody's got to feed their families in the union. And just because you've got mouths to feed doesn't mean that you have the ability to undercut everybody else. The way that you continue to feed your families into the future is to stand with your brothers and sisters and against the exploitation of the boss, to make sure that you've got good wages and working conditions into the future with your brothers and sisters, not kowtowing to the boss and undercutting them.
Yeah. Tell them, Jacob. I mean, look, in plain English, what we've done for the last 40 years isn't sustainable. Mm-hmm. If you go back and look at any data from the 1970s, inflation has risen, corporate CEO pay has risen, workers' compensation has dropped. Mm-hmm. Inflation continues to rise, and yet you may think, well, I'm getting a 3% raise, but the problem is if inflation rises 5%, then you're going backwards. Mm-hmm. And we have negotiated against ourselves, and when I say we, I mean workers across the United States, have negotiated against ourselves saying, we'll continue taking less and less and less, and it's not sustainable. Yeah, I mean, what I can buy now, making the amount of money that I make, is nowhere near what my father could make. When he retired, making the amount of money that he was making. Right. And you look and you say, I can't. But we talk about it at work consistently. A lot of the guys at work, like these big Chevrolet pickup trucks, Ford pickup trucks. And everybody's saying, I cannot believe that a pickup truck is $60,000. Well, guess what? Mm-hmm. The reason that the pickup truck is $60,000 is because everybody is making money. It's raising the prices of the vehicles, except for the worker. The workers are not keeping up with the cost of inflation. And if you continue saying we're just trying to keep everybody employed, being employed is a joke if you can't afford a vehicle to drive, if you can't afford food to put on the table. So this is not sustainable what we're doing. We've got to change our mindset to recognize the value of your labor. Right. And the value of your labor is what the company makes. Anything less than what the company makes, you are forfeiting a percentage of your value and giving it away for free. Right. For nothing.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about I mean, that's exactly right, that workers are bargaining against themselves and fighting against themselves when they talk about this. And here's a hot take. Here's a hot take for you as we're going off the air.
We got about 3 minutes.
Union workers have never once asked for too much. That's what I believe. I do not believe that there is a single instance that you can point me towards where union workers in their contracts have asked for too much, that they have been unreasonable in their demands, that they have been the cause of and bargaining against yourselves is exactly what we're talking about when we hear, well, it's the workers' fault that these automotive plants have been shipped overseas. It's because they got too greedy. They wanted too much money. They wanted their workplaces to be too safe. They wanted to be able to have a comfortable life in retirement. They wanted to have good health care if they had a heart attack. Workers have never, all of their demands were completely reasonable, and they have never once asked for too much. UAW has have there been people at the top of unions? Have there been international presidents who have been corrupted and they have individually gotten greedy and they have taken advantage of their place in the union and been bribed by the corporations that they're supposed to be fighting against? Yes, that has happened. But have the workers, have the rank and file, have the demands of the union in contract negotiations ever been unreasonable or asked for too much? No. The answer to that is no.
And just to clarify, because I just looked over here at the comments, Jack said that Larry is the international vice president, so I apologize for
fancy.
Well, I mean, that's just pretty big.
International vice president.
And the leader of UMWA in Tennessee and North Carolina South. So, I wanted to clarify that because I definitely don't want to take anything away from him. He's been a strong fighter.
Yes.
And I see him every year at the AFL-CIO, and he's not only is he a strong fighter, he's a good Christian man and a very, very honorable person. So, talk anything about the miners, and we'll come to blows pretty quick over that stuff because they're salt of the earth type people.
Yeah. Workers have never asked for too much. Who has asked for too much? It's been the bosses every time. While you're talking about workers being greedy, asking for too much, asking for 60, 70, 80, even $100,000 a year, how much is the boss taking? The boss is taking millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions of dollars a year. Who earns that money? It's the workers. The workers are the ones that create the value that the bosses take, and unions are the best way for workers to retain more of the value that they create for the company.
You can't have it both ways. You can't in one moment say that the exploitation in China and the slave labor in China and the Uyghurs and all of these people, you can't take up for them and simultaneously take up for a company that moves their work over there
exactly
and exploits that labor.
Yeah, blame the workers for the company going over and exploiting slave labor. That's exactly right.
Buy American.
Yeah. Buy American, buy union made, buy our hats. They are both of those things at thevalleylaborreport.org. We will see you next week, and I'll be sending you some dispatches on Twitter today to let you know how my car goes and give you some updates from the picket line. We'll see you next week. If you want to see what we're up to throughout the week, get our snide quips about the news of the day, then you should follow us on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/The Valley Labor Report. We're on Twitter at Labor Reporters. I'm on Twitter at JacobM_AL. David is on Twitter at Radical Unionist. That's spelled RADICL Unionist. If you missed part of the show and want to go back and watch it later, you can search YouTube for The Valley Labor Report and subscribe to our channel. You can go back and watch the full show there, and we also clip segments throughout the week. We also upload the program on more than 11 different podcasting apps, so to see if we are on your listening platform of choice, go to thevalleylaborreport.transistor.fm/subscribe. We've got a website, thevalleylaborreport.org, where not only can you buy these fantastic union-made hats right here, they are made by a Unite Here local they're fantastic. They're my favorite hat. Wear it all the time, even though it's a bit cheesy to wear your own merch. $35 with free shipping, and you get stickers, 2 stickers for free if you get the hat, and you can also buy the stickers by themselves if you just want a couple stickers. They're like $5, pretty cheap if you don't want to. If you don't want to drop the $35 on the hat, we've got the stickers.
Union-made stickers.
Union-made stickers. All of our merch is union-made. And if you appreciate our work and just want to send us a couple dollars a month, that is very helpful. You can do that on patreon.com/The Valley Labor Report.